Cards, what did you say at half time?
Well, I just said we can't be any worse. First half was unacceptable. There was the warm-up before the Oxford game was poor. I felt the warm-up before today's game was poor. In the Oxford game there was enough people having a pop about the warm-up, so I didn't get involved. Today I did, in terms of, you know, having a go at some, because the intensity wasn't there. And you can't switch it on and off. You can't switch it on and off week to week. You can't switch it on and off on a match day. And I felt the first half performance was, you know, I just said it then. It was a tale of two keepers, wasn't it? First half was Dan Addington's kept us in the game, and second half their keepers kept them in the game. But first half we were so far off it. They were good. They were attacking on the back of a poor result at midweek at Chorley. They started, I felt, with a lot of tempo, but we started with a lack of tempo, and you know, they switched the play many times. It was quite easy for them to do it, and when they went 2-0 up, it was probably fully deserved, and we were lucky to go in 2-0 at half time.
You made the changes at half time, but you know, Andy White went off just towards the end of the first half. You seemed to be maybe changing your mind whether to bring Mike O'Neill or Josh Miles on at the time. Was that because you were waiting for half time to see what changes to make?
Well, to be honest, I already had in my head what we needed to do. Obviously, Whitey coming off wasn't part of it, but he'd stiffened up after the warm-up and said he wanted to give it a go. But then I just thought about it. We're going to have to change something. It's not sticking up front. We're not keeping hold of the ball. They're getting down the sides of us too easy. And you might go, well, why did you go 3 at the back? Well, we went 3 at the back so that the outside centre halves could cover. And obviously Milesy coming on, you know, in a wing back position, probably isn't. You know, it's not something he'll be familiar with. But I thought he was outstanding when he came on. You know, and the other subs as well. You know, Mikey O'Neill was different class again. He was forward thinking, he was probing with his passing, he put a shift in, he was back defending, he was up attacking, having shots, you know, little threaded balls through, way to pass was top drawer. And then Josh with his goals was different class and probably should have had a hat-trick.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, what do you do about Josh Amos now? Because, you know, he's having such an impact coming on off the bench. It's like you're almost a bit reluctant to start him because then you've lost your impact player off the bench.
Yeah, that is in your thoughts, and it's also in your thoughts that, you know, that's the longest he's played now. So he's done 45, and you know, we're not really in a position to sort of, you know, give people minutes to get into the team. But at the same time, that, you know, there is a time where you have to look at it and you go, well, you know, we're going to have to do something with him, because we can't keep going behind for him to make the impact, or we can't keep going, you know, attacking the way we are, and expecting a change. It's just not happened unless he's been on the pitch, I'll be honest. So it's things we've definitely, you know, we're trying to look at, and we're trying to help the players, you know, the likes of Joe and others. We're trying to help them by, you know, bringing to the squad more attacking players. But it's hard, as I've said before. It's not easy. But with Josh, I mean, you know, both his goals today and as I say, the chance where he went through and the keeper's made a save with his left hand. You're thinking it's, you know, you've turned it round. It's such a tough place. I think they've only lost one here, and that was the first game of the season at Kiddie. I think it's their away form that's probably hindered them, but you know, certainly here we'll be seeing in the first half how good they can be. But then, you know, like I say, I've got to give our lads credit for the way they performed in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, after the disappointment of the first half, you know, now you've had 3 away games, you've managed to, you know, you're unbeaten in them 3 away games. Is that testament to the character that your team's got?
It is, but I've just said it in there. You know, you start with a point, you start 0-0, and the lads have just had to work so hard to claw a point away from home. So don't be cheap with the way you start and you approach games, because on another day you're not getting back into that. You know, but it is testament to character and resilience, and not laying down, but it's also a reminder that we should be performing like we did in the second half, but in the first half, because if we do that, then you can change the table, you can flip the outcome, especially going into half time. We don't want to be having to be making 3 changes to get back into the game. We don't want to be doing that, but sometimes you've got to make those changes, and thankfully today it paid off and we got a point.
You brought in Noah Alford this week on loan from Bolton. Just tell us a little bit about him and what your plans are for him.
Well, obviously we lose Ev next week to suspension. Noah, I watched him last week for Bolton's 23s, 21s, reserves, whatever they're called now. And he played in front of the back 4, and he was very good. He was assured, he was composed, he was good in the air. He moved well. So obviously with that sort of defensive mindset, which we've spoke about, that's why we played Ev there in the last couple of games. I felt it was important to make sure we had enough in there to give us that little bit of security in the midfield, in the deeper area. So he's come in, and we just carry on looking.